Hello and welcome back to my quarter-life crisis. To redesigning the Amazing Digital Circus characters as humans. In case you haven't seen the first part of the series, make sure to check it out after this video or I will find you. At this point, pretty much everyone knows about Digital Circus.
What?
After I was done with Regatha, I jumped straight into Kinger's redesign, which is obviously the best character of the show so far, and you can't prove me wrong. Anyway, we still don't know much about him, only that he apparently studied computer science for 7 years, he might be involved in the programming of the Digital Circus, his wife was there with him, but sadly ended up abstracting, and that he's been trapped in the circus longer than any of the other characters. Which is why he is the most unstable out of everyone. I also read that Kinger is 48 years old, but I decided to make him look a bit older and give him white hair because, this is what chronic stress does to a person, so remember to take it easy, guys. At first I thought, well, I should probably give him some sort of crazed expression, right? He doesn't exactly have a face in the show, only these big eyeballs, but then I went for a slightly absent-minded look, where hopefully you can still catch a glimpse of his wiser self that only emerges when he's surrounded by darkness. I just love the concept of his character so much. So yeah, Kinger is basically a grandpa here, and I just thought that his conversation with Pomni was so well written, and it doesn't feel like it came out of nowhere either. After those 2 very stressful episodes, it was nice to see Pomni finally capable of having a conversation with someone compassionate that actually comforted her a little. But let's get back to the redesign. Kinger is basically a chess piece wearing a robe. So in order to stay more faithful to the original design, I ended up drawing him a crown that looks exactly like the top of a king chess piece. His large eyes became the 2 button thingies on his robe. Does he look like an old retired programmer? You guys are the judges. First of all, I should point out that I worked on Gangle's redesign before the 4th episode came out. I had already seen the small preview pictures posted by Glitch Productions, and they all felt quite unsettling to say the least. And if you saw them too, you definitely know what I mean. In the end though, the episode turned out to be another hard punch to the feels. Minimum wage jobs. I really like the concept of the manic episode mask that ironically is made of plastic, so it's unavoidably more resistant than Gangle's other masks, which are made of porcelain. Also, it seems that the masks do not change what Gangle feels on the inside, but they do have an influence on her personality and on the way she acts. I don't want to get too deep into the psychological meaning of it all, but I needed to say this to justify the ballerina look I picked for her. So, why the ballerina? Well, it's just that ballerinas are known as a symbol of harmony, and in contrast, Gangle is basically the total opposite of that. Her name literally means moving ungracefully, so I thought what if she's a ballerina in the circus? A ballerina who can't actually dance, or that has her own ungraceful way of dancing. So there it is. Gangle's body is made of candy ribbons, but they just made me think of ribbon dance, so I drew her this red and black ballet costume, mixed with a jester costume, and of course she's wearing the tragedy mask and holding the comedy mask in her hands, as if she might be afraid of putting it on for the risk of breaking it. That's not all though. Ballerinas are also a symbol of strength and self-sacrifice. And Gangle must have been a pretty resilient person, even before the circus, despite the fragility of her masks, which, in fact, are only just masks. She wanted to become a comic artist, she worked as a shift manager, and it seems she was doing all of that while dealing with depression. She sounds like a strong person to me. Zooble comforting Gangle at the end of episode 4 is probably one of my favorite scenes in the entire show up to now, but we still haven't seen much of them. Most of the time, Zooble is irritable and is apparently bothered by the fact that they don't like their body. Since they're a mix and match toy, it seems Kane gave them a bunch of different body parts to try on, but they haven't found anything they like yet. I also read that Zooble themselves doesn't know what their gender is, and that they're still questioning their identity. So I ended up drawing Zooble's human design pretty androgynous. Zooble's original design is already really cool with all those shapes and the detachable body parts they can conveniently use to strangle Jax like we would all love to do, but I also wanted to water down the colors when working on their clothes. It took me forever to figure out the perfect color palette, but in the end I think I found it. I also really tried to keep the little details of their original design, like the wing, which I turned into a hairpin, and the antennas that I attached to her headphones. Honestly, with every episode getting more psychological than the previous one, I gotta say I'm a little scared about the next deep dive into the characters' traumas. I mean, I'm just tired of getting to the end of every episode ugly crying like I was just kicked in the face. But I am curious, so I guess I'll have to stay hydrated. Anyway, if you're still listening, I just want to take a moment to thank you all for the support on the first episode of the series. I've received very nice comments about my art and my editing too, so I'll be sure to keep improving with every video. That is all, thank you so much for watching, have a great week, and I'll see you soon.